You are watching the #1 podcast in the whole entire wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Wanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leck.
Together we are
Roping.
And thank you, family, for being with us one more time. It is our time to be with NXT UK. One of the best show in the WWE by far. You know, always an hour, like we said. It's always exciting and always like different themes, you know, for each single show. You know, we don't get to see like the same stuff that we saw like the show before. So I like that. We had to see, you know, a pretty decent NXT UK Championship match, I want to say. And also a face-off between Kayley and also Ginny. So a pretty good show. So let's hear it from Paul.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this show, NXT UK. I say each and every week it is the favorite show of mine to watch. It's the highlight of the week for me. You know, if I could, this would probably be one of the only shows I would watch because it's actually the only one that really brings legitness, brings enjoyment. But, you know, it's one of those things where this week, I think, you know, it delivered the same thing. It's just, this show is great. And like you said, a fantastic championship match. And we got some announcements for the weeks to come. So NXT UK, they're just keeping on, you know, delivering, I think, the best wrestling.
Oh yeah, they always do good. They always like bring us like really great storytelling, good matches. So let's start right on it. But before we do that, thank you so very much for the love, subscription, comments that you give us, you know, the support. And talking about support, let's, you know, don't forget to check us out. Jean-Paul, myself, talking about NXT, you know, the normal NXT that like lately is in like all its like glory days. It's been losing all the brilliance, all the legitness, so to say, that like took him like made him like the #1 brand in the WWE. Pete Dunne is starting getting the Prince now. It's a good story. Paul even mentions that he says, you know, that's the right thing to do. I agree with that. You know, wait on Karrion Kross, so that's good. But in the end, the Undisputed Era has to be involved in all of this. So do we really like that? I will let it pass. But you know, don't forget to check that out. So also, like, tell me, Paul, about AEW Dynamite New Year's Match Day 2.
Yeah, New Year's Smash Day 2, we saw, you know, opening match, Pac and Eddie Kingston. It was good. I really like Pac, like Eddie Kingston, you know, good way to kick off the show. And, you know, there's some stuff we got in between that and the main event, you know, okay, like we saw, you know, I mean, I don't get me wrong, I enjoy seeing FTR beat the shit out of Marco Stunt. You know, I could watch that each and every week, but then we got some stuff, you know, the Good Brothers came out again, Kenny Omega, everybody brawling and all that stuff, so, but then, you know, fantastic main event like you see here in the thumbnail, Darby Allin, Brian Cage for the TNT Championship. Great match. Go back and watch that, you know, if you haven't. And, you know, I don't think next week will be as good. I can see the numbers like we said, NXT's kind of fallen off, and, you know, AEW was pretty good this week, but I could see the numbers going back down with the card that they're presenting us for next week.
Yes. We'll see what happens on that. Like the Inner Circle is kind of like, it's becoming more like a joke that like one of the best factions that we had. It started to look really, really good, like kind of Undisputed Era, you know, similar, like legitimacy, legitimacy, there you go, to read it or the word, but like now it's kind of becoming like a clownish act, so we don't want to see that. And something like you said is always presented legit is NXT UK. Started out with Joe Coffey. This is like, of course, the guy that like we think that like he could have another NXT UK Championship match. So he had a match with a guy that they was debuting. He was debuting on the show for the first time, Ed Harvey. So this match was actually pretty contested. I like this, and the guy absolutely went to his shoot name right from the get-go.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I don't even know if they did like a elbow and collar tie-up or what it was, but they, you know, did something. He gets thrown to the outside, and he's like, "I'm not Ed Harvey. This is bullshit." He's like, what was it? Shaw
Samuels.
Yeah, Shaw. He's like, I'm Shaw Samuels, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then commentary's like, okay, well, yeah, you know, Shaw Samuels, you know, he was Ed Harvey, but he doesn't want to be that now. So that's like when WWE changes your name to something completely stupid. And they're like, no, like, can I just be Dijakovic? Do I have to be T-Bar? You know what I mean? It's like, can I be legit? But, you know, so then the commentary, I like that. Then they were calling him Shaw Samuels. They're like, okay, so I'm interested to see, and I'm sure he will next week whenever he comes back. It'll probably say Shaw Samuels there instead of Ed Harvey. But no, this match was really good. I thought it was going to be something where Joe Coffey's just going to steamroll this guy. And just like we said, because he is probably due to have another NXT UK Championship match sooner rather than later. And the one thing I want to get your opinion for NXT UK, it seems like when they debut people, they usually have a good match, but they almost always like lose. You know, besides like I would say Rampage Brown's probably the only one who didn't have that because they're really pushing him, which is good. But I mean, it's one of the things where I wouldn't want to see Shaw Samuels beat Joe Coffey here, but maybe have him against somebody else to kind of, you know, establish this guy.
yeah, an enhancement talent or somebody like easier to beat. But you're right. Like a lot of guys that like to have their first match, I think it's more like pay your dues kind of deal.
Yeah.
So hey, you're gonna show like debut with one of our main guys. So Joe Coffey is gonna like beat you, which he did. But like you said, contested match, a lot of like intensity between both guys. Like even Samuels, he hit a beautiful spine buster into Coffey. Coffey, of course, he makes the big comeback, and he did like the Best of Belfast, I think it is.
I
So
did just the best of the bells.
Beds of the Bell, that happened
Yep.
to be the discus lariat, and he did also like another move that like is his signature when he pushes you to the turnbuckle. I like that too.
Oh
So
yeah,
he,
like the setup. Yeah, and
yes, it's like I think it's like the Glasgow something I think they call it, and it was a pretty good move. Kofi wins, like he is still lobbying for an opportunity. Even they said on commentary, Gallus has already the tag team goal. He's still in his like in his road to head finally like singles goal. So he's gonna try. So good stuff on that. Really like that. So let's move on, Paul, to like a segment that it will take place in like 2 weeks time, like Sis Kala said. You guys can see it, our boys right there, pretty lethal or pretty deadly. There you go, pretty lethal. I always like deadly or same thing. So it says in 2 weeks time there's gonna be a fatal 4-way for a tag team #1 contenders match, and there's gonna be these guys involved. It's gonna be the Hunt. It's gonna be also these guys right here. It's gonna be Carter and also Smith. These two guys that like are a tag team. I think they probably have like one match in NXT UK. I don't remember like calling like more than one match from these two guys. And also we're gonna have like I said, have the Han and also Morgan Andrews and Flash Morgan.
Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews.
Yes, there you go. Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews. So it's gonna be pretty cool. Like he said, like finally we have our championship, kind of like our #1 contenders opportunity. So we'll see what happens. And this is going to be a good match, though. So if Pretty Deadly wants to win this match, they have to come up with a new finisher, at least for me. It needs to be something good.
I like this because it's elimination. It's not just one pinfall, 4 teams. That's kind of bullshit. I never like that. If it's multi-man, at least more than 3 men or 3 teams, make it elimination. Make it at least exciting. But this match will be really good. My team to win it is one that recently had a championship opportunity. That the Hunt is. I'm going with them. I think you need to put the gold on them because they're the most legit team. And you saw there, which I mean, we can mention it now because it doesn't really affect the flow of the show. But
yes.
They had a promo, and you see this to me it solidified it. They were already my pick, but this promo. You see Eddie Dennis. He looks like the crazy, mad scientist, leading these 2, primal beasts into war. And he's like, yeah, some people, they can survive in chaos. They can barely make it out on the other side. But some people, like us, we live in it and we thrive in the chaos. Yeah. And that's one of the things. It's like, then you see them, they're shaking the fence. Maybe they borrowed the fence from John Moxley. That's nice that he let them borrow it. And they're shaking the fence and they're screaming, going crazy. And just the look on Eddie Dennis's face. Like I said, these 2 guys look like they're unhinged, insane. And he has this insane smile look on his face too. He's just as crazy as them, if not crazier. So
and I love the line when one of them goes, "Is like, oh, we're the Hunt and you guys are the hunted." Mm-hmm. So that was cool. Like you said,
so I like that. And to me, they're my pick to win it. And I think you got to put it on them because then you can tell this. I mean, Pretty Deadly. I think it's like Breezango. They'll have their, they'll have their like, let's throw the dog a bone title run at some point. But
3 weeks, yes.
Yeah, but I think that the Hunt needs to win it because the story there is then you build up Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews as the babyface because they had that feud, they lost it. Then they can be chasing the Hunt, and I think that will be a good story.
And that will be good. Yeah, like you said, Gallus, like his title reign is over for me. Like they have the championship.
And you know what you could do with Gallus if WWE would listen to Jean-Paul Leck, you could bring Imperium back, and then you could do Gallus versus Imperium. You could feud them. Yeah, they lost the titles, but Coffey wants Walter. So hey, let's help our boy. And
that's kind of like merge the factions, and we kind of have like a war in between factions, and also like all the belts, even tag, and also like singles are like not on the line, but you kind of like chasing each other. So that's a good call on that. So let's go now to a match of the guy that is former NXT UK champion, and that's Tyler Bate. He said that like he's going to be a different man. He's going to try to go back to the basics, and understand that like he cannot be in the comfort zone anymore. So he's going to start from, like I said, the beginning, and that's winning matches, regular matches. And also then somebody that didn't believe him at all, that was Sam Gradwell. He's like, oh, that's bullshit, dude. And he has a legit gimmick. He has a legit music. He has a great,
speaking of that, I want to ask you, because you and I both love music and entrance themes. That's a big thing for us. Tyler Bate needs a new theme. It's like it's just like it's just like so like generic and
it's too dancey. Yeah, it's too
yeah.
it's not serious. It's
I
not
mean, he
serious.
sells it. He comes out and he like lays on the apron and kicks his boots before he rolls in the ring. You know, he sells the theme and everything. But then when the guy wrestles, he's legit. And I'm like, can he have like badass music? And then Gradwell comes out and it's like guitar and it's heavy metal. And I'm like,
Yes,
okay.
and like like the whole the presentation of the character for Gradwell is awesome.
Oh yeah,
You know,
Nigel even said it too. He's like, I mean, I don't like when people use character when they say, oh, like I know we say it as like analysts or whatever you want, podcasters, whatever you want to call us. Besides, the best in the business, but it's I don't like when you use character because it's you want to believe that that's who the person really is.
yes.
But I look, but Nigel said it though. He is one of the best characters. Like this guy he don't give a shit about anybody else. He's like, you're all bullshit. I'm legit. But then he was also kind of telling a little bit about him. He's like, oh, he's an inspiration to his young son because he fought back through the knee injury. And you saw Gradwell has the brace on his knee and stuff. So it's like, okay, this guy is a baby face outside the ring, I guess. But
yeah, he's like kind of like with Brody Lee,
Yeah, but I mean, this was really good match. I liked it because Gradwell, when we see him, and we're like, he loses. I think he lost to Coffey or he lost
to Joe Coffey, yes.
Yeah, and he might have lost to Rampage Brown, I think, or that might have
Rampage
been
Brown.
Yeah, but
Rampage Brown, that was his record, yes.
But it was, this guy had a really good match with Tyler Bate. There was a couple points where, like, they almost had you believing that Tyler Bate was going to lose, but you knew he wasn't. But this was really good match. I enjoyed it. And Tyler Bate, I think this is good. It's like, hey, the guy is always main event. He was the first champion. But we don't want to push him in the main event. We want to push different guys. Like we see AKid, obviously Walter's the champ and stuff. So let's kind of push him back. But he'll be in the main event again. What is this guy? He might be 23, 24 now. He's still not very old. So, like, he has 20 more years of wrestling in him, barring any, serious injury or anything. So this guy will always be a cornerstone for you. But I enjoyed this match. I love, like, the boop and bop or whatever they call it when he throws up the one fist and punch you with the other.
Oh yeah, that's a beauty. Like
yeah, I love when he does that.
The explosiveness that he has when he attacks is great. I like the kick that he does, kind of like rolling, and then he keeps you right there. And then the only thing it was like to me anticlimactic. It was just like he set up two moves and then he went for the Tyler driver and that was it.
Yeah, I thought. I'm like, the Tyler driver is his finisher, but normally when a match that was at least this contested, I like it when it's like boom, 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 finisher and done. Not like, oh, I hit you with a move and we wait and I set you up and then Tyler driver. I almost thought he was going to kick out.
Yeah,
like, no, it's Sam Gradwell. He's kind of like a legit jobber. He's not like a bullshit
that's actually the word. If you ever going to find out that that's a legit jobber. So Gradwell loses and Tyler Bate wins. He's the one that let's see what's happening with Tyler Bate. Think he needs a big win. Something that is gonna put him.
We got to do it for him. We're gonna.
Yeah, there you go. Right, I like that. I like his character is a lot better. Like if he's presented more serious, I think he has a lot of chances to even dethrone Walter. Somebody that two guys that might have other chances to do the same is gonna be Rampage Brown and also Mastiff, Dave Mastiff, and the Bomb. And they're kind of staring at each other, and then he was doing lifting weights, and he says, "This one goes for you, mate." So it's kind of setting up a match that they're gonna have next week or in 2 weeks. So it's kind of like a rivalry, but it's good because it's two guys that kind of same physique, maybe same wrestling ability. So we'll see what happens, but I think Brown is gonna go over because Brown is the guy that they're pushing.
Yeah, I really don't know what their plans are. We did see Joe Coffey, go against Walter. I mean, I don't want to say recently, but, because NXT UK had that huge break, but, I mean, this would be something if you want to do another multi-man match or the winner of this goes against Joe Coffey or something, I would be down to see a triple threat, or like I said, the winner of this goes against Coffey for the number one contender, but I'm really looking forward to this.
That would be cool.
I think Rampage Brown, like you said, is going to go over, but these two guys are going to beat the shit out of each other. I always say when it's two big men who know what they're doing and they're beating the hell out of each other, there's no way it won't be good.
It will be a good match, exactly. So talking about former number one contenders, Ilya Dragunov finally back in the Performance Center in the BT Studios NXT, and he says, to Jack Stars, he's like, hey, when I debuted, you were the first person that I beat. Hey, you were the one that kind of catapulted me to go and win big things, and win the Battle Royal to make me number one contender, pandemic and all of that. So he's like, okay, do you want to fight me one more time? Kind of like I said, he has to go really back from the beginning to kind of move forward. And he says, well, yeah, I accept. It's going to be a match, but it's this time the result is going to be different. The outcome is going to be absolutely different. So you see that Ilya Dragunov and Stars are going to have a match. This is going to be easy for me for Dragunov. I don't know why like he put Jack Stars so over. I just like you were.
I mean,
so
to me,
cool.
Jack Stars, I'm actually a fan of his. Like when I watch him wrestle, I believe he was the one who was part of the team that beat Saxon Huxley. So,
Yes, yeah,
and I mean, obviously that's handicap and stuff. But Jack Stars, I made the comparison a couple episodes ago. I'm like, this guy to me is like the NXT UK Sami Zayn.
yes,
Like when
yeah.
Sami
He
Zayn
looked
was
like
in NXT. I mean, not just because they look a little similar, but it's like the guy's legit, and it's like okay, like you're not pushing him to the main event right away, but this guy I think is slowly going to get the fans behind him. And if they ever introduce a mid-card title, or if AKid keeps defending the Heritage Cup or something, I could easily see. Now, is he going to dethrone Walter? No, but like a mid-card or Heritage Cup, I could easily see him winning that because I think this guy's super talented, and I'm looking forward to this match just as much as I am Rampage Brown and Dave Mastiff. I think this will be a really good match, and there'll be two different style of matches, which will be good to watch.
They're gonna have two big men with like Brown and Mastiff, and now like more athletic in smaller guys like in Stars and also your Dragunov. So let's go quick to like the face off that they were gonna have like challenger and champion Kayley against Ginny, and Ginny came out with Connors, so that was cool. And then they kind of stared down in the ring, pretty much like. And Ginny was saying that next week she's going to have the championship match. Next week she's going to be a champion. Kayley Rain interrupted, and she just said, hey, there's no way. It's like every single woman in this roster has been put to face me, and look at the outcome. I'm still champion. And then Ginny goes, well, and every single woman but me. And remember, Kayley, that I was the one that helped you out to retain your champion. So, pretty cool, like, stare down.
Yeah, and I think she, like, messed up her line a little bit, which is fun because she's like, the only reason I'm standing in this ring now is because I helped you win that championship. I'm like, isn't it because you beat Piper Niven and became #1 contender? Isn't that why you're standing? But I mean, I like the line when she's like, oh, I'm rich, I have all this money, I'm legit. With money comes power comes connections, all this stuff. Kaylee Ray gets in her face and says, there's not enough money in the world that's going to fix your face when I'm done with you. Legit lines and stuff. And then, she calls out Kaylee Ray. She's like, enjoy the 1 week you have left with that title. And she holds it up and is like, yeah, no, I'll enjoy it a little bit longer until Valkyrie's ready for it. So,
yes, exactly.
But this will be good. And it almost, now you got to turn somebody babyface, at least for the match. I'm not saying actually turn the character, but for the sake of the story, someone's got to be kind of the babyface. And they're definitely doing that with Kaylee Ray. I think they're making her like, okay, who are you going to side for? You're going to side with Kaylee Ray.
And that Connor's also is going to play a factor. He's going to try to screw the match, but like you said, there's no way the title's going to change hands.
I mean, unless they're going to do something hot potato, but I just don't see Ginny, if she does win, I don't see her holding that belt for like, a year or like 200 days.
No, it's not going to have the same reign.
No, maybe 2 months, 2-3 months max.
Probably like a month even, I will say, and then let's hope like pandemic is a little better, and then we can have shows, and then hopefully like take over, and then boom, they will be Valkyrie and done. But I think that. So Paul, let's go to the main event. Main event it is, and then it's Walter against AKid. AKid won the Heritage Cup, so he said, hey, I've done something really cool. What do I need to do after that? Well, I'm gonna go for lobby for a championship opportunity against Walter. So let's go to like this is cool, like the tale of what like all the
tale of the tape.
Tail of the tape, that's what it is. And you see the difference in size, difference in weight and height and everything. In reach, signature moves, the ladder powerbomb and the omoplata. And you see the accolades. First ever Spanish that ever talks Spanish, I think it says. No, it's the first ever Spanish WWE superstar. I guess that's an accolade. I don't know why is that an accolade. But you see the days of Walter as NXT UK champion. 650 days. That's absolutely long. I think it's almost is about to like break Pete Dunne's record.
Yeah, they said it's closing in on that, and it's a shame. I mean, we love Pete Dunne versus Finn Balor, but I would love if it would be really close, and Pete Dunne would be like, "No, I'm stopping this. You ain't beating my record," and then they have a match. And I mean, obviously, Walter would go over, and Walter would break the record, but that would be cool. Don't you want, if somebody's going to break your record, wouldn't you want to stop them from that?
Oh yeah,
What do you think, especially if your home brand is NXT UK? Which I think Pete Dunne's is. As much as it's legit, he's on the main NXT UK. I mean, I think this show's better, so I'd rather have him on this one. But, like you said, the tail of the tape here, I mean, the match, if you just look at the numbers, you're like, oh, Walter's going to kill this guy. But, I mean, AKid is a different athlete. He's one of the guys who I'm going to put right there with his, teacher, Tyler Bate. He's going to be a cornerstone of this brand for years and years to come because he's good. His style is different. He has kind of like the MMA. It's like the submissions, but he can also wrestle. He can also high fly. He said he can do it all in the Heritage Cup, and the guy proves it each and every time we see him wrestle. And at the start of this, you almost thought, not that he was going to win, because, no offense to AKid or anybody, but we knew Walter wasn't going to lose here. But it's like, they almost made you believe, kicking out the legs. Walter tried to chop him, kept dodging the chops. He used the speed, and it was frustrating Walter. And, when you frustrate Walter, he's either going to really kick your ass or you're going to be able to get the upper hand on him. And, he had the upper hand for a little bit, but then eventually Walter started kicking his ass.
Oh, well, yeah, like you said, the main thing is, like, he did, like, what, the books tell you when you're going to fight a big man. Where are you going to go? What do you need to do? Hey, you need to go for the legs, right? And then he started to do that. And then there was a lot of submissions, like you said, like the kicks, like, they sounded really good, though. They were, stiff.
Like, these guys, there was no pulling the punches or kicks. They landed.
So like that was at least good. I like that. And like the one thing, like he had done a few drop kicks, like I said, the single leg crab. Then he did a little bit, like he tried to do a crossface. I don't know if he came out good with it. But then Walter took, of course, the offense, and then that was that was the end of it. There was
I like, AKid, he kept fighting back. Even when Walter would hit these huge chops and knock him down, AKid would get back up, try for the submissions, like you said, the arm bars and stuff. But, Walter's just too strong. But I love, like, when AKid would chop him, because, like, Walter would try for the chops, he would dodge, and then AKid would chop him. Walter would just look at him and be like, again, like, hit me again. You know what I mean? And it's just like he presents himself so legit. Like, you don't want to say he no-sells it, because he was selling for AKid. That's the one thing with Walter. Guys like Dragunov, Tyler Bate, AKid, that are less than 100 pounds, are more than 100 pounds lighter than him. He sells for these guys, and he makes them look like $1 million. So this was good, but like you said, he had the submission, kind of like some kind of armbar on Walter. He rolls out to the ropes, and then that spelled the end of it. Like, commentary said a normal man would just be happy for the hold to be broken. He said, fuck that. Power bombed him on the apron, threw him in the ring, chopped to the back of the neck, short arm clothesline, and that's all she wrote.
That's all there was. And I like also the spot that, like, Walter went running, and he did also like a missile drop kick. I like that.
Walter is a freak for his.
And then he did a power bomb also, and then AKid kicked out. So that was good. Like, there was like a lot of good spots, like you said. Walter is pretty humble when it comes to, like you said, to make others look good. Reminds me a little bit, like, not in the same league, because Walter is, an amazing athlete, and also like the respect that we have for Walter is a lot more than maybe Brock Lesnar. But like Brock Lesnar also, like they said many times, that like he loves to like work with smaller guys.
Because and that's the thing, if Lesnar, if he likes you, he'll sell for you. AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, you go back. Even the Finn Balor match, he sold a little bit. Even though it was only like a 7-minute match, he sold for him a little bit. But like then you watch Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman, and it's like, what the? Like, he don't give it. And even Drew's bigger, so it makes sense. But it's like he sold for Drew. Yes. But like all these other guys, like I said, Strowman, Reigns, he's like, fuck them.
Well, that's what I mean, is it because, like you said, if he likes you, and the same thing probably with Walter, like he makes sure that like the match looks good, and like you said, the intensity, he chops, that sound is just like, I don't know if they put
that like a shotgun. It legit sounds like a shotgun.
Goes boom, on. Like boom, and like you said, another like shot. That shot to the neck was really stiff. 1, 2, 3. He retains our champion Walter, the General. Put a net. The General put the kid's fairy tale. He crushed him completely, and it's over. The dream is over for the AKid. Walter is still the champion, so it's good. At least we got a championship match. So that's, I think, one of the greatest things about this show. So we'll see what happens later, though, because there's it's going to be an NXT Women's Championship. It's going to be in 2 weeks. It's going to be the #1 contender. So at least they always throw you something of importance, of more importance than the normal shows, I will say. So it's good. And now Walter, let's see what happens. We'll see, like, if it's going to be Coffey. Let's see, it's going to be Tyler Bate. Let's see, it's going to be Dragunov one more time. And that's going to be interesting to see who's the next one, to go after Walter.
Yeah, I would love to see. Dragunov, I think he needs to have a match with Ben Carter. He needs to have a match with AKid. There's many guys I want to see him wrestle. And even Tyler Bate. Remember, it was him and Tyler Bate were the last two in the over-the-top battle royal that Dragunov became the #1 contender in. So, you could revisit that matchup. There's lots of things I think Dragunov's going to do before he challenges Walter or whoever would be the NXT UK champion.
Yes.
But I mean, I'm really looking forward to this each and every week, and I'm excited for next Thursday.
Absolutely, like the one thing, it will be cool to see Imperium back, but hopefully, you say Bartel, the whole like the tag,
Well, and maybe if our boys Lucha House Party beat them so bad, they'll send them back to NXT
that's
UK.
fine. We're gonna see that will be cool. To see Bartel and Agner, like go back to like NXT UK. So we'll see what happens. So family, thank you so very much for being with us for this review. We love you, and tomorrow more content with like not such a great show. Friday night SmackDown, and also like remember Saturday a Hard to Kill. Jean Paul, myself talking about everything. Like 9 matches is going to be. Josh Alexander was all added to the show today with Brian Myers. That's going to be another match for Jean Paul. He loves Brian Myers, so we're going to be excited about that. So don't forget to help us out with subscriptions and also with the bell for all notifications. And where else can they find us, Jean Paul?
Yep, and then after you click subscribe and turn on the bell, you can also go to Facebook and follow us on Rope Break. You can follow us on the OG Rope Break on Twitter, the original Rope Break on Instagram. And like I say, I'm going to tell you again, we got to hammer that in there. Go to YouTube. The original Rope Break. Click subscribe, turn on the bell. You will not regret it.
No, you will never regret it. Tomorrow we'll see you for SmackDown. You and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is...